Hello fabulous friends and fans, I am your astrologer Nadiya Shah and welcome to the third ever episode of Nadiya Shah Productions. Thank you so much for watching. I am incredibly excited and elated to be interviewing today's guest. Now I have to tell you, I heard about Julie Simmons years before I actually met her, and I came to know her in my mind as the astrologer's astrologer. Because all my friends who were astrologers were actually going to her when they wanted an astrological reading. She's that good. And so over the years I've come to learn about her many accomplishments, and that reputation is actually really well earned. I thought, who is going to be the perfect first astrologer for me as an astrologer to have on my show? And I could think of no better person than Julie Simmons. What brought you to astrology?
Well, it was a combination. One part of it was that I had gotten fired from every job that I had after I finished school. So there was that motivation. And the other thing was that no matter what I did, everybody always told me their problems. And I felt like I needed to find something to put between me and my advice giving that would allow me to do it, partly to have a better gift, to increase my gifts of doing it, but also because it would mean that then people couldn't ask me to solve their problems unless I had that thing. And so unless I take out my astrology book, I wouldn't necessarily have to give advice.
Oh, okay.
It was intense.
Oh, okay. So you felt that it sort of allowed you this safe point so that you could offer advice in a more detached kind of way.
That's right.
And that's what you wanted to do, was give advice.
I was doing it all. I was doing a whole bunch of different things. And astrology was like, I was made for astrology because I was an English major. And English majors are all about symbols and interpreting. You interpret it, and like you look at the first paragraph of a novel and you know a lot about it, right? So I feel like I was trained. And plus I read a lot of Jung when I was in university too. So I felt like it was perfect.
You mentioned Carl Jung. Carl Jung did an incredible amount of research into astrology, and also his understanding, the way that he understood the psyche and psychology and archetypes. It just really fit very well together. So for any friends and fans out there who are into who want to know more about astrology and understand the archetypes more deeply, you can't help but stumble upon Jung at some point.
Right.
Yeah.
I did literally wake up one morning and decide to be an astrologer. I met this guy on the subway. He gives me a card and says, go study with this woman. And it was like, oh, I never looked back. And she was great. Her name was Eleanor Bach, and she was a legend in her own time. She wrote the first astrology book on the asteroids. She was the first asteroid student.
What's your favorite asteroid?
Oh, it changes.
Are we allowed to play favorites with celestial bodies?
I think it has to be Vesta.
Yeah.
I think it has to be Vesta for me, unfortunately.
Yeah, and why? Explain a little bit for those people who are new to astrology, don't know a lot about it. What is it about that asteroid?
Because I think I have this theory that only Virgo can save the world. And
are you a Virgo?
No, I'm a Virgo.
Okay.
And I believe that because Virgo is a sign of integration, and the world is suffering from too much domination. And Vesta is the asteroid where I think Virgo has been hiding out until she can come back and be strong. So it's Vesta is about, Vesta can be the nun and the Vestal Virgin, but Vesta is really the whole being, the person who is totally whole and dedicated, who wants integration between the sacred and the mundane more than they want anything else. Regulus, the Kingmaker star, one of the 4 fixed stars that rules the gates to the, I think it's the gate to the north, and it's going into Virgo, even as we speak, like this year, next year.
Oh wow!
Wow!
And how long does it
spend
in the sign?
And I think it's not going to go into Virgo and be so. A fixed star takes 72 years to move 1 degree, so it's been in Leo for a very long time, right? And it's not going to go into Virgo and be the Queen Maker, because that would be Cancer. It's going to be the Goddess Maker. It's going to be bring back wholeness, bring back the fact that the sacred and the mundane are the same, right? So I'm very excited about that.
It sounds very exciting. It makes a lot of sense as I think about it, as I look around, that yeah, our world is very Leo. You think about how celebrity obsessed we are. My goodness, it's really, it's amazing. I was watching, just before I came here to spend this lovely afternoon with you, I was watching a documentary online about, it was called Peep Culture with CBC. Peep culture, and how our world is changing as a result of the internet and Facebook and social media, and how we all are sort of tapping into this need we have for people to see us and acknowledge us, and fame for its own sake. And I was thinking a lot about the difference between being famous and being a celebrity just so people can sort of say, you matter, you exist, and the difference between actually making a contribution and putting something out into the world that is going to affect people's hearts or be meaningful or to change them. People who come onto my site, they actually come on because they want to read their horoscopes.
That's right.
And so I think that the overwhelming majority of people who read horoscopes, most of them are not going to study astrology with any depth, right? They enjoy horoscopes. They may even go to an astrologer at some point in their life, but they're not necessarily going to study astrology. Although you were saying earlier that the number of astrologers has grown.
I started in the early 70s, so I mean there were a bunch of us. There were a lot of people doing astrology, but it was you know, in the, I mean it's probably because of the internet and everything, but it seems to me that there's just so much more. There's so many more. Maybe I'm just old and it's all the young people coming in. I don't know. It could be that.
You're fabulous. Don't worry about that.
But it just seems like there's a lot of people who are doing astrology, and it's great.
So like with the internet, whoever you are, whatever you're into, you can find a tribe, right? You find your own tribe, and so it can seem like we are allowed to connect with each other and come out of the woodwork.
Well, yes, but when I mean, maybe there's just more population, but when I started, you know, there'd be a conference, you know, in a year there'd be a conference, maybe two, and it wouldn't, you know, there'd be like 300 people there, not 3,000 people there. Like now there's tons of conferences and tons of people who go there, and it's a different thing, and there's people doing all sorts of things with astrology. You know, like one of my students just went to Hawaii to study the nodes. It's like, wow.
Oh my God. Like vacation astrology. People who are watching this are not necessarily going to be inclined to learn astrology at this point in their life. Although I do think that that is changing, and will definitely change once Neptune enters Pisces very soon.
Could be. I think everybody knows astrology. I think if I say to somebody moon, they have a whole, it's like the Jungian thing. If I say moon, you have a whole complex in your mind about what moon means. Or if I say mother, I mean the moon is your mother. If I say mother, it's not like you don't have a whole flock of things that are about, right? So you don't necessarily know that astrologically, but you know it.
A little surprise actually. I'm hiding it like just off screen so that Julie can't see. But actually I am so excited about this because I actually came across one of your books. And I have loved it, okay? I don't know how much it's going to say about me, but this is one of Julie's books, Passion Signs, back when her name was Julie Schwartz. And I love this book. Like personally, what I really loved was that it examines how the different signs are in love, but not just in one way, but in the 4 different stages of love. And I found it to be very accurate personally, which is how astrologers are judged, aren't we? As accurate. How accurate we are correlates to how good we are.
Yes, how much we can describe the inner landscape of a person's life is how accurate we are. Right. The thing about this book is it's a sun sign book, and it does come out of that 8th house conference we were talking about. That was my lecture. I turned it into a book.
Oh, excellent.
But the thing about sun sign astrology is the sun is your heart's desire, right? So the sun is everything that makes you feel proud of yourself. So that's why sun sign astrology works, because people, it's at the core of a person. It's the heart of a person.